Hey, how's it going? The great tragedy of our day is the lack of concern or the ability to discern the need for something to be taken seriously, or even as believers, not understanding that we need to act according to what we say we believe. I think it's important that we stop sitting around and waiting to go to heaven, which is a continuous theme through our churches here in the West, and begin putting on Christ likeness, holiness, godliness, all of the things that scripture talks about. It's sad to sit around and watch as people promote this salvation of going to heaven while neglecting to pursue God in being transformed. Or you could say it this way, without pursuing Him and working with Him in the process as we become more like Him. If you ever notice in churches, the goal in regards to the gospel, the good news of Jesus, the Christ, the Messiah, is to convince people to get him or to receive him in order that they may go to heaven. The emphasis is always on going to heaven, but salvation is much greater than that. Heaven is, you can look at it as a part of the benefits package, but we forget that we live now and that we're going to live until it is either he comes back while we're still alive or we die and we go to be with him. But the focus is always on after we die and going to heaven. And we wonder why we have pews, chairs, buildings full of people who claim to be Christian, don't look nothing like him. Nobody would even know that you were a Christian if you didn't tell them that you were. You see, this is a great problem because we neglect that the natural part of being a Christian, or the Christian life in and of itself, is to be transformed into Christ likeness. I'm going to say that again. It's the natural part of being a Christian, or the natural part of the Christian life, is to begin to look more and more like him daily. It's not just about going to heaven. Let me say it that way. Because heaven is something that you don't have to worry about if you truly do have him. And it's more than just professing. We have to stop just grabbing one set of scriptures and plucking it out and making that a whole theology about salvation. And we're deceiving people into telling them that they're saved just because they really meant it in their heart at the time. We need to get more serious about this. And the crazy part about a lot of this is it starts from the top down. You have people in leadership, whether you're lead pastor, whether you are part of an elder team, part of the trustees, the deacons, whatever you are. We have people in leadership, depending on how your church is structured, that do not take holiness and all of these other things seriously themselves. So why would anybody in the congregation do otherwise? They do what they see. I've been watching for some time now, and one of the things I've noticed at either being at different churches or even preaching at different churches or just being around believers or people that claim to believe is that when you take seriously the teachings of Jesus, the things found in scripture, and you attempt to actually live that out, like that's what your goal is, to live it out. Your goal is to become more like Christ. This is what you're striving for every day. One of the things that I've learned, it is so sad, but I've learned that you're going to be an outcast among people that are supposed to be believers. People think that you're radical, that it's not that serious, and all of these different things. But I want to encourage those of you that do take it serious about putting on Christ likeness. Uh, Scripture tells us to be holy as He is holy. Taking serious about godliness. I want to encourage you, even if you feel like an outcast, like that walk that you are walking out because you take Jesus seriously and that is word, even though it gets lonely at times, I want to encourage you to keep pressing forward. When everybody else, I don't care which church you at, that want to continue to just do their own thing, things that whether they're not biblical, whether it's so lax that sin is not being called out, and we just sit around and wait to go to heaven or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm talking about. We love to point out the world, what the world is doing. He's judging us as well. He's going to judge us as well. And I just don't understand, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? Is you could just look around you and you can see it's obvious that God is not pleased. We put it on the world. But let me show you something. Those without God should be acting the way that they act. The question you need to ask other believers is, what's your excuse? Grace, mercy, and peace be with you.